Welcome, Dan. Can you please explain what our town hall is all about?
Howdy. Glad to be here. Yes, this is the discussion we need to have. It is the discussion we have all been waiting for. Our town hall is what we named this revolution. As we delve into it, the name we chose will make sense. Our town hall is a three-tier strategy, three specific actions that deliver a complete revolutionary change to the way we govern ourselves as a society. It is rooted in the principles of democracy, which basically means that the people rule. All three of these pillars work in unison with each other to elevate one single thing: give all the power to the people. That is the only purpose. It is built on the belief that the people, working together with their neighbors, will solve every other single issue themselves. Democracy is not the solution in itself. It is the tool. And, in revolutionary terms, it is our weapon. Give the people the tools for democracy, and they will take everything from there. This is not a radical concept. It is actually what democracy itself means. It is what democracy requires in order to actually function and deliver on its promise. And that is what we are here to do today. That is what this discussion is about. All three of these pillars working together become the revolutionary change. The mission is clear, which is to remove the corrupt system of government we currently have, and to replace it with a system of governance that delivers on our demand for freedom and peace. I assume we all know what the need for revolution is, or you would not be watching this. Ultimately, it is to remove the powers that currently rule, or better put, dictate, over us and replace it with the power of the people. The principle is rooted in delivering only one single platform. Give the power to the people. That is it, all of it. We do not offer any single other platform, issue, or agenda. It is my belief, after talking with so many people of all ages and demographics, that that is what will deliver the change people not only want, but crave. Here's the thing. I believe that if we give the power to the people to govern themselves, that they will get every single issue right from there. If I put my faith into the people and give them the tools to present their ideas for their community, give them the tools to debate and discuss those ideas, give them the tools to make those ideas even better ideas, and then give them the opportunity to vote on those ideas, they will make all the right calls. I am 100% convinced that people will get every single issue right. And there is a tool for that. That tool is democracy. And here's the funny thing. That tool of democracy is the very tool we have all been promised that we have. This existing corrupt system keeps telling us we have democracy. They keep telling us we have to protect democracy. How many times have we heard those words? Well, damn. Let's actually give the people democracy. Actually, let's give them the tools to take democracy and use it. That is what our town hall is. It's the tool that gives all the power to the people.
Give all the power to the people. Give people the tools to use democracy for that power. Remove and replace the current corrupt government and let people rule themselves. Is that the foundation?
Yes, that's it.
That sounds simple, but certainly has a lot of moving parts. Can we delve into it in some more detail?
Absolutely. We're going to cover some serious ground here. That is why this is a long video. I suggest everyone grab themselves a beverage of their choice, a snack, or whatever, and let's have the discussion we need to have. Let's take the time to paint the full picture of what will be our revolution. I don't know about you, but this is the discussion we have all been waiting for. Let's have it right now. I assume we are all in the awake crowd. We know that the system we have is corrupted and broken, and that we all know that we have to work on a solution to the problem. It is time to solve the problem. So, let's have that discussion. By the way, once we get to outlining the details, which we will, this discussion will be wide open for everyone to participate in it, to add their ideas, to improve on ideas, to debate ideas, and to come to a consensus on ideas. We are all in this together, so let's make that our reality from the outset. This is a team game, a community game. Let's take the first few steps together. Let's build our foundation. Now, together, we will figure out the next steps from there. Together, we just become stronger and smarter. This discussion is the first step. But before we start, let me outline the ground we are going to cover a bit. We're going to define the problem that we currently have in terms that let us build a strategy to solving it. We have to be honest and call out the problem, without any sugarcoating on it. We are in a class war. Our democratic system has been hijacked by global forces. Many call them the deep state. Some call them the global elites. I choose to call them the 1%, because it is this entitled class that defines our enemy. But no matter what we call them, it's the same. And they are our enemy. They literally are the enemy of the people. We need to understand our enemy, the 1%. Let's be honest and agree on that. And we need to understand ourselves. We can call ourselves the 99%. We all want freedom and peace, and fair justice, and communities that come alive with the joy of living. Freedom, peace, and we govern ourselves. Agreed? We need to understand this entire challenge in the terms of discussing a war, a conflict between the 1% and the 99%. And we should look at it as a war, a class war between the 1% and the 99%. And we need to tackle it head on as a war, because that is what it is. We also understand that we did not initiate this war. The enemy started it. The 1% started it. But it is here, whether we like it or not. And we need to show up on the battlefield and fight it. We are at war, and we need to deal with it as a war. That said, we need to understand the strengths of the 1% so we can defend against them. We need to understand the weaknesses of the 1% so we can exploit them. And we need to understand our own strengths and weaknesses so we can align ourselves to win this class war. At that point, we will actually and finally show up on the right battlefield. And I'll say one more thing before we start. We can win this war. I absolutely have no doubt that we can win. And when we win, we will all achieve our demand for freedom and peace. We will end up with vibrant, joyful communities. They will spring into life. After all, that is what we demand. And it is time to just take our demand. Nobody is going to give it to us. So we have to take it because we rule. And we have the power to rule.
Okay, let's start asking ourselves with what our power is. What is our strength?
First, what I propose only works if our neighbors come together and do it. It only works if we come together and present ideas. It only works if we have the discussions required to improve on them. We all need to talk to our neighbors. It only works if we take some steps to actually move it forward. So it really is just the seed. But let's plant it and see if we can get it to grow. A seed of grass, and the people are its roots. Grass roots. Go say hi to your neighbors. They are your neighbors, and you are their neighbor. Together is what springs that seed and those roots into life. Okay, our power. Our power is democracy itself. And there's one thing about democracy that dictates its power, that it is a team game. Individually, we are nothing. When we come together in community, it's everything. Say hi to your neighbors. That is what we have to do. And it really is all we have to do, because together it all springs into life. And we can actually do that. We come together and our power starts to grow, and it can grow fast. So it will require more and more of us to grow it to the level where it actually removes the corruption and incompetence of our government institutions and replaces it with our own governance. So we move in the direction we, together, want our society to go. As such, I'm merely proposing this because you have to buy into it. You have to make it better. I am offering the tools. It is up to everyone else to decide if this is the course we need. It is up to everyone else to improve on it. It is up to each one of us. Who is prepared to grab the reins of power and use it? We all have to be in on it. That said, I have not seen or heard of any other approach that fills our demand for freedom and peace. And to be honest, I'm tired of just waiting for one. Let's get this show on the road. This is a revolution idea. Absolutely it is. And a friend told me this a while back, that any revolution worth a spit has two departments, a remove department and a replace department. And by knowing me, he suggested that I focus my energy on the replace department. That is where I could best contribute. It made sense, so I took that to heart. As such, what I propose here is the replace department. As I like to say, this here is the replace department. The remove department is on the fifth floor. It made sense, but the revolution is all in the same building. So our discussion here is focused on the replacement. Let's build this new society and communities we demand and want, which so far our corrupt system has denied us. Then we can see where we are going, where we want to go. I hope the remove department takes it to heart as well and works in tandem with us. Again, we're all in the same building, and a revolution will require us both.
So you're proposing a solution that replaces our current system of governance. What is even more intriguing is that you're actively acting on it. So can you detail what the solution you propose is?
I would be happy to. But first we should agree on what the problem is with what we are replacing. Before we propose how we solve it, we should be in agreement on the problem we are solving. That will give us some perspective. Many of us already understand the problem. We are awake to it. Meanwhile, some of us just hit the snooze button and hope things will change before we wake up. And others still buy into the propaganda that keeps them asleep. Those people keep popping sleeping pills. It is up to each of us to understand the difference between those three levels of understanding where we are today in terms of facing the problem. And it certainly is not a gloomy picture when we analyze it. We are actually in an actionable position. For those who are awake, we understand what we need to do, and we know we need to step forward and light the path for the rest of us. We don't have all the details yet, but I will propose some of those. Anyways, we get it, and we realize that the solution is to unite and take action. Plant the seeds. Light up the path. For those who hit the snooze button, they kind of see the problem, but they have not yet committed themselves to solving it. They're just not ready to commit themselves to it yet. Maybe they need to see what the path is before they wake up and commit to it. Anyways, they're more like followers than leaders, and we have to recognize that dynamic. For those who keep popping the sleeping pills, they just continue to snooze away while the bed under them is getting shakier and shakier. We just have to give them more time for things to hit home, which they eventually will. What we cannot do is wait for these folks. We just know that now is wakey time. We can move forward without them, and we must. But we will leave the light on for them and welcome them as they do wake up. With that in mind, let me point out some really good news. Of the three groups, only the awake group can grow. The snooze button and propaganda pill-popping groups cannot grow. Once you are awake to the truth, you can never unsee the truth. It is only our group, the awake group, that can grow. That is absolutely a power dynamic in our favor. Considering that, what I'm proposing here should be of interest to those of us who are in the awake crowd. We are the ones that need to light the path so others can see it and ultimately join us, which they will. But let's step back a bit and review where we are so that we actually agree on the definition of the problem, so that we can act on solving it. What do we have to replace? Let's all be on the same page. This is important. In a nutshell, our problem is the system of governance we have. If we can agree that our governments have forgotten about us and our communities, that everything favors the profit-hungry corporations, the greedy bankers, and the entitled oligarchs. Everything they want, the government gives them. And everything the government gives them comes from us. I assume we all agree with that? But it is not just our corrupted government. It's not just the politicians and his bureaucrats. The real problem is those that corrupt them. They are the root of the problem, the core of the rot. Understand our enemy. Our politicians know this, which makes it even worse because that means they are deliberately screwing us over. They do it knowingly. In election campaigns, they promise us what we want because they know what we want. But when elected, they give us the opposite. They completely know. They are not innocent here. The same applies to the corporate media. The rotten core buys them and has them feed us their propaganda. They are in total cahoots. That means they are all either incompetent or corrupt. As far as I'm concerned, it does not matter which one it is. In fact, I believe it is a combination of the two. But regardless, we lose either way. And it is time to fight back and straighten it out. I am tired of losing, and I do not think I'm alone on that. The losing is getting painful. When governments no longer represent the people, then it is the right and the obligation of the people to overthrow them. The word for that required action is revolution. It is revolution time. Many of us know it is time. But here's the important point. There are enough of us that know it to actually get the job done. We are the awake crowd. And if you are watching this, then you are one of us. We just need to band together and get the ball rolling. It is us that has to light the path. We are the seed we have to plant. The solution I propose is solely for those who are awake now. We are the ones that have to light the path so that those who keep hitting the snooze button can see the path. They will ultimately join us because we are giving them the path they also want. And those who continue to sleep through this can also see it. They will get there. We all do at our own schedules. I did. I only woke up a few years ago, and I'm still rubbing the sleep out of my eyes today. So, our job is to light the path. It is to present them with an option that gives them a better choice. Then they can wake up. They'll have a reason to wake up. We are giving them a much better choice. It is time for us to get to work. What I present here is nonviolent and 100% legal for us to take. Absolutely it can be improved on, and the more of us that start moving us in the right direction, the better it is going to get. Every one of us has ideas to make it better. That is how it gets better. We need to fix how we govern ourselves in our communities. That is what this is about. Our solution is to chart the path to transferring all the power of governance to the people. That is where it belongs.
Okay, let me get this straight then. So you see three groups of people: those who are awake now, like us, those who are hesitant to wake up, keep hitting the snooze button, and then those who see no reason to wake up, the sleeping pill poppers. Do you have that? Do I have that right?
Exactly. Here's the image I use to describe how those three categories fit into a revolutionary action. It covers it well. It's the stages of revolutionary change. Those of us who are awake simply have to light the path. Don't wait for everyone else. Pick a time and place and get out there as one loud voice. Shine the light on the path. That moves us to the second stage. As soon as we start to join ourselves together, we are that second stage. And from there, we can see the third stage. Those who hit the snooze button will have a reason to join you. And those who remain sound asleep are going to prefer the option you give them, because at this point, the nightmares they are getting in their sleep have just become intolerable. Light the path. It's time to do that. And the fourth stage comes, and the fourth stage then just comes rolling in under its own power. The revolution ends with our victory.
Cool. I get that message. Let's dig further into the details. You said we need to all agree to the problem we are solving. What do you describe the problem of society to be?
Well, society is a structure built on communities of people. We, as humans, are a communal species of life. We live with each other in communities. When our communities thrive, we thrive individually. That is the essence of society itself, and it is the promise of community. The problem is that a few people, let's just call them the 1% for a consistent term, have taken it upon themselves to rule over us. They're not interested in thriving communities. They're interested in their personal power, and it is fueled by their greed. And, even worse, it results in their control over all of us. Their construct is individual rule and power. These are the opposite of the individual freedom and peace that we seek. And we see it everywhere around us. They're achieving their goal, and ours continues to fade into the distance. These people live on spreadsheets of control. They measure life solely on monetary wealth. And they want it all. Most of us cannot understand this motivational force, nor do we actually want to. We want the freedom to live our lives. We expect peace to surround us. We abhor conflict. And, most of all, we do not want to be ruled by anyone. We want to rule ourselves. So, the problem is the 1% who want to control us, which is in direct conflict with the goal that we want to govern ourselves.
And if you had one objective or demand, what would it be then?
What we want, demand is actually the better term, is the freedom to live peaceful lives surrounded by family, friends, and neighbors. Freedom is our demand. And when we are free, we will build our communities ourselves. We know that in our souls. Our rulers refuse to hear us. So, we reject the entire concept of anyone ruling us. A free society is a society free of rulers, and it certainly is a society free of oppressors. And we are here to demand it. And we are at the point now where we have to take action to take it, or we obviously will not get it. Recognizing that is an awake thought, and each of us knows it because we are in the awake crowd. How many of us today live paycheck to paycheck? How many are a mere $500 incident away from the disaster of bankruptcy, homelessness, or poverty? How many of us are living on credit card debt? Or even worse, how many of us have visited payday loan lenders? Their storefronts are popping up everywhere. Many of us are already experiencing these outcomes, and that number is growing every day. Payday loans are a growing business sector. The 1% are all over it. They're building them in every town. These people smell profits in our misery. Even if we are not personally suffering from homelessness, poverty, food insecurity, poor health, or the oppression of a monetary system that threatens to topple us at any time, we certainly do not want our friends, family, or neighbors to be in that plight. And many are. Too many of us are simply spending our lives struggling to survive. Again, our demand is freedom from that oppression, from that fear. We want the opposite. We have incredible technologies today that should lead us to incredible, thriving communities that are limited only by our imaginations. We should be experiencing life surrounded with joy, happiness, curiosity, and the arts, among other things. We should be released from fear and embraced by the liberation provided by freedom and peace surrounding us. Our objective, our demand, is freedom and peace through thriving communities.
And what is standing in our way then?
It is actually two things. First, it is the 1% who have no concept of community, no concept of individual freedom, no concept of communal peace. Geez, their own homes are surrounded by fencing, gates, and security guards. That is not peace. That is not freedom. And it certainly does not jive with building communities. In a nutshell, these few in the 1% have no souls. They're simply empty people trying to fill their own void with money and power, neither of which will ever reach their goal of having a soul. These people do not even know where to look to find their souls. Think about it. Imagine being one of them. If you had $1 billion with a B, would you go to work Monday morning? I sure wouldn't. I would do something better. Who of us wouldn't? But these 1% billionaires have that choice. And what do? They go to work Monday morning. They all do. They need to make it $1,000,000,001. There's something seriously wrong with these people. Good grief. We are now at the point where billionaires are openly competing with each other to see who gets to be the first trillionaire. That is just sick. And we are letting them rule us. That is a problem. The second thing standing in our way is ourselves, because we have not taken the reins of the power we actually have to create the society we demand. We are lazy, expecting a hero to ride in and fix everything for us. The level of worship of politicians is frightening. If we don't have the hero we need, we try to create one. And it is a problem, because it doesn't work. That is completely backwards. It is the politicians who should worship us, because we are their reason to even exist. We have to flip this worshiping deal completely right side up. The reality is that we have simply allowed the 1% to rule over us, which is completely stupid, because we have allowed the soulless to chart the directions of our communities and society. We have let the worst of humanity dictate the terms we all live by. That is stupid. And it is fatal to us, because this trajectory we are on is just going to continue on its course, and it's speeding up its pace. Put it this way, doing nothing is fatal. We cannot continue on this course. But here's the good news. We actually have the power to both thwart and replace the 1% from their hold over us. Democracy is where our power resides. It is there, always has been. It just sits there at our feet, waiting for us to pick it up. And we're finally ready to pick it up.
How does democracy favor us?
Well, let's look at the definition from the dictionary, right at the basic level. It's worth our time to look at democracy carefully, because it gives us the solution we are looking for. Many people have written about it. Many scholars have lectured about it. Many politicians have alluded to it. Yes, just alluded to it, when it gives them a verbal advantage to promise it to us while never actually giving it to us. The dictionary sums it up perfectly. And who's going to argue with the definition from the dictionary? Look at 1A, government by the people, especially rule of the majority. Simple words, but directly on point. The people rule. But rule in any community is not derived from total consensus. It is derived by the majority. 50% plus 1 is a majority. We do not need to wait for those who remain asleep to wake up to move. We do not need everyone to take action. We just need the majority of us, 50% plus 1. And we already have that. And we can quickly see that the 1% has no authority in democracy whatsoever. They have no authority to rule us. They are nowhere close to 50% plus one. Let me say this key point one more time for emphasis. The 1% have no authority to rule us whatsoever. Only through their corruption have they stifled democracy, and we have let them do it. So, who does have the authority? Look at 1B. Supreme power is vested in the people. Simple enough. That is us. The people are us. It gives us the choice to choose direct democracy, which is what we propose, by the way, or through representatives, which we supposedly have chosen, but are not working for us due to them being corrupted by the 1% that we discussed earlier. Let's choose direct democracy because that is our choice to make. We do not need these political representatives who fail to give us the democracy they are charged with giving us. We can choose ourselves, and I'll explain that in more detail shortly. Look at point 2, a political unit that has a democratic government. Our communities are our political units. More on that coming shortly as well. Just keep it in mind. Point 3, the principles and policies of the Democratic Party in the U.S. Not even worth discussing, as that is an obvious failure of that political party to comply with, as they all do. Point 4, the common people. That is us. It certainly is not the 1%. It is the direct opposite of the 1%. The 1% are the uncommon people. 1% is uncommon. They have no power in real democracy. And point 5, democracy is the absence of arbitrary or hereditary distinction or privileges. Down comes the hammer. Boom! The 1% are immediately disqualified from any democratic representation. This term also directly alludes to the key democratic principle of one person, one vote. Not more than one vote. Just one equal vote per person. And what do we have today? An advantaged small elite that has used their weapon of money to consume all our votes. They have literally stolen our votes and denied us our democratic power in the process. It is time for us to actually pick up our weapon of democracy that is just sitting there at our feet and to use it. Democracy is clearly our weapon to guide us into the communities we want. It actually screams the demand. The people will rule themselves.
Yes, I see how democracy favors us. I also see how democracy is not our reality because the 1% have distorted it completely in their own favor. They have distorted its definition to fit their agenda. It's given that distortion. Given that distortion, how do we use it to achieve our demand for freedom and peace, Danny?
We need to reject their definition because it is distorted. Their definition is fake, a fraud, voodoo. We know what it is, and we need to pick it up. It is sitting right there at our feet. No matter how the 1% defines it, it is still there and always has been. We have to pick it up and use it. We have a small, wealthy, privileged, entitled class of people that have distorted democracy itself to make it look like they have all the power it offers. And they themselves are democracy. That is the con of our lives. What they allude to is not democracy at all. It is like they conjured up their own definition of democracy and are telling us that the majority of us agrees with them. That is absolutely ridiculous. On its face, it defies the dictionary. We have literally allowed a soulless small group of people to take the power of democracy through voodoo. Total bullshit. They stand on lies, propaganda, corruption, bribery, blackmail, and extortion to consume the powers of democracy without actually being democratic at all. It is 100% pure voodoo. But there is one element of democracy that resides in our favor. It is the fact that the majority rules. That means numbers of people, which the 1% do not have at all, and we have in abundance. No matter what they do, they cannot change the actual core root of what democracy is. Malcolm X defined this many years ago. Let me quote him. "We are not outnumbered. We are out-organized. We have the numbers, 99% versus 1%. It's not even close. We are just not organized. So, let's organize." This is how we use democracy to achieve our demand for freedom and peace. And it is how we use democracy to give us the thriving communities we all want. By the way, if you will notice, us organizing for democratic power is the one single thing that scares the crap out of the 1%, because they know they lose as soon as we do it. We terrify them.
And we haven't mentioned them yet, but what about the role of political parties?
That gets a simple answer. There isn't one. Political parties have no role. Zero. They're just a part of the voodoo that the 1% feeds us. They're not in the definition of democracy, other than the naming reference given to the Democratic Party in the U.S., which they themselves have failed to adhere to. Furthermore, political parties are not even mentioned in the U.S. Constitution. They are not mentioned in the Canadian Constitution either. Political parties are voodoo. The 1% made them up. Look at it this way. What is the purpose of a political party? They serve the same purpose as a health insurance adjuster standing between you and your doctor. They are a middleman, where there is no purpose for a middleman in the first place. A political party is a tool of the 1% that stands between you, your equal vote of democratic power, and your government. It is a tool to aggregate your votes into a block for the 1%. It is so much easier for the 1% to make their vote bigger than 1% by creating political parties and getting people to wave a party flag and wear a party t-shirt. Face it, political parties work against you every time. They create a division designed to separate neighbor from neighbor into choices that are controlled by the 1%. Left, right, conservative, liberal, Democrat, Republican. Political parties are voodoo. Democracy does not involve political parties, and you should not involve them either when you are participating in democracy. Don't give your one equal vote to the 1%. They actually make your vote work against you instead of for you. Why does the definition of democracy itself not include the role of political parties? Because democracy does not require them. Let me make another point on this foolishness. If you still think in terms of left, right, liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican, red, blue, you are not awake yet. That is what defines those who remain asleep. You made a choice to give your vote, your one equal vote, to the 1%. The 1% controls those parties. The 1% gives them the money to operate. The 1% sets their agenda and policies. The 1% chooses their politicians. And you and I have no say in them. These parties tell you what they will give you. That is 100% backwards to democracy itself. Again, it's voodoo. And it is you who should tell the government what you demand they give you. And you should get it. But let's throw some good news on this. The good news is that more and more of us are waking up every day. And the better news is that once you are awake, you can never be influenced by their voodoo again. This river flows in only one direction, and it is in our direction. Political parties, put a fork in them, and let's get to work on governing ourselves. Democracy belongs to us.
Cool. How do we move forward with democracy?
First off, we have to pick up our weapon of democracy that is just sitting there at our feet. If we are to use democracy, then we need to accept its terms. We organize around our political units. our communities. The people rule. The majority carries the decisions, and everyone gets one equal vote, and no more than that. Democracy is a team game. It is a community game, and every single one of us is on that team. Can we accept that? It's high time to do so. Secondly, we need to accept that we have to fight for it. The 1% are standing in our way. They are our enemy. We have to accept that we are in a class war, and we have to show up on the battlefield. The 1% is standing between us and the freedom and peace we demand. They have been on the battlefield for a long time now, and it's time for us to show up on that battlefield to win our freedom and peace. Our enemy's weapon is money. They use it. They use it to buy propaganda. They use it to corrupt the system. They use it for bribes, blackmail, and even extortion. They use it to create their voodoo political parties, and they use it to decide on the politicians that appear on the ballots. Their weapon is money. Without their weapon of money, they would not hold any power over us at all. Our weapon is unity. It is rooted in our numbers. We are the majority. In democracy, the majority rules. It is time to use it. As such, to summarize, this is the class war we face. The 1% with their weapon of money lined up against the 99% and our weapon of numbers. And democracy is the battlefield where this war will be fought. Let's get on it.
War, and this all sounds like a violent confrontation. Is violence what you're proposing?
I recognize that words like war, enemy, battlefield, and weapons are abrasive and denote conflict. None of them are appealing. Yet, we need to recognize that freedom does not come free. But that does not mean violence. Basically, we need to come to terms with the fact that our next steps to solving our crisis of democracy is essentially a call to a revolution. I won't sugarcoat it. Revolution is what is required. But that does not mean it is a call to violence. It isn't. It is a call for a peaceful revolution. In fact, we are obligated to revolt when the system fails us. It is completely within the bounds of the laws we currently have. Every action being proposed here is nonviolent and within the confines and structures of the democratic and constitutional laws that are in place and available to us. However, I am unable to predict the reactions of the 1%. Will they accept defeat peacefully? That will be up to them. And with complete honesty, we should stand ready for whatever reactions the 1% will have to their loss of control over us. They will lose, and they will not be happy. As we join together, we can prepare ourselves for what they might throw at us. But our strength is our numbers, which gives us the advantage, regardless of what they do.
So do you really think that we can vote our way out of this mess and into the communities that we want?
That is a good question. But just voting is not what democracy means. There's a huge misconception out there that has undoubtedly been fed to us by the 1%. That democracy means voting on election days, and that is it. No! Democracy is not merely about voting. It is much more than that. Democracy is a full-time gig. Democracy is about the sharing of ideas. It is about discussion. It is about debate. It is about improving on ideas. It is about neighbors working together to define and set the course of their communities. Democracy is about building your community with your neighbors. It is not politicians that have ideas. That should be very obvious to us all by now. It is people that have ideas. Keep that in mind at all times because it is critical to building communities. It is critical to actually achieving freedom and peace. Communities are people living together. Well, People living together can only define their communities together. There is no other way. Anything else would simply be a prison, a restriction on the joy of life itself. Freedom means to have ideas. Freedom comes by people living free. Our demand requires us all to participate in defining and building our communities. Democracy is participation of the members of its community. It takes actual work. There is so much more than merely voting. And I suggest putting a definition on what freedom is. Ask yourself, how can I possibly be free if my neighbor cannot be free? The freedom we want is a community gig. We have been doing democracy all wrong, and we need to do democracy right. Let me define this critical difference in perception with my own experience. I am 68 years old. I have been voting for about 50 years now, half a century. What has voting gotten me? Everything has deteriorated. Voting has gotten me nowhere. It has gotten society nowhere but worse. We could go through every sector of our daily lives, from our standard of living, education system, justice system, corporate consolidation, wealth inequality, banks too big to fail, foreign conflicts, unhealthy food products, a failed healthcare system. I do not see much forward progress on any of it. I see deterioration in all of them. Voting has not got it done. We need to pivot from this course we were on. Democracy is our only tool to do it with, and democracy means participating. Once again, good ideas do not come from politicians. Good ideas come from the people, and it is people who refine and improve on those ideas to make them even better. Present ideas, discuss ideas, debate ideas, improve on ideas, and only then hold a vote on those ideas. Refine the idea into a really good idea, and then everyone gets one equal vote. And majority rules. It is a process from idea to majority agreement. That is what democracy means. All of it is what is required of us. In terms of politics, anyone running for political office should only have one single platform issue to offer their voters: to put all the power into the hands of the people, and let the people take everything else from there, on every single issue. And my bet is that they will get it right every single time, because it is the community that defines the issues. Nobody defines anything in a community alone, ever. The 1% thinks they define the issues. By doing that, they do not represent us, nor do they represent democracy. The 1% are the anti-democracy.
So this makes sense, but it sounds idealistic. We have a reality that is completely the opposite of what we want. How do we change a political system that is so entrenched with the influence of the 1% in capital cities like Ottawa and Washington, D.C.? How do we change everything from where we are at now? Dan, this sounds like a huge lift. So how do we win this class war you're describing?
I can tell you that this is the question that has been bothering me for years. A third party, a workers' movement, an independent candidate. We just need a leader with a vision to ride in and save us. Someone who will give us hope and change. Someone who will drain the swamp. Does that sound familiar? So many efforts, so many dreams, so many promises, and so many failures, so many times. Sometimes we felt we got close to it. Trudeau, Obama, Bernie, drain the swamp Trump. And here we are. The trajectory just got worse. Freedom's being eroded. Justice thwarted. Fairness forgotten. Equity further in the distance. Forever wars. And one war ends and another one starts. There is no leader riding in to save us. The system has been totally rigged by the 1%, corrupted. The door has been slammed in our face. After buying the crap they were selling us, time after time after time, it finally occurred to me that we were showing up on the wrong battlefield. Ottawa and Washington, D.C. are corrupted. totally captured by the 1%. We can smell the rot. They pointed their weapon of money at Ottawa and Washington and bought them, be it through bribery, blackmail, or even extortion. Money, money, money. They kept firing their weapon of money. And the 1% won both Ottawa and D.C. Think about how these capital cities work. They constantly screw up. And the people that screw up keep getting promoted into higher positions of power to screw up even bigger. The 1% looks after nobody but the 1%. We all know it, too. The problem with Ottawa and Washington, D.C. is that a small cabal of evil people could aim their weapon of money at it and win it. They only had to shoot at one single place to take it. One target is all they needed. When money is concentrated on one point, it works effectively. And once the 1% took control of our federal government, all they had to do was flow the power downward to consume us all. The 1% wins, and we all lose. By taking the federal government, buying what they needed, they flowed all decisions and all power downwards, through the states and provinces, and through our communities, right into our individual lives. It is foolish for us to keep fighting the same battle that we keep losing every single time. What is that quote from Albert Einstein? Insanity is to keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Albert is right. We need to explore a different path to meet our demand for freedom and peace. It is also foolish for us to even think that democracy flows downwards. It doesn't. That is just more 1% voodoo. Real true democracy flows upwards. Our power flows upwards, from the bottom up. Who rules in the definition of democracy? The common people. That is us. From us through our local town halls, to our state and provincial capitals, and right into the seats of our federal government. In true real democracy, power flows from the people up through that chain. Power flows from the people. Actually, that is what grassroots means. Grass, roots. Power comes from the roots. We, you, me, all our neighbors. We are the roots. Let's flow power up and win this class war. We can do that. And that is what I propose we do. I can see a path for us to do just that. It's going to need improvement, of course. It's going to need ideas. But ideas and discussion is what we are all good at. Together, we will get it right. Everything. I count on you to get it right. That said, I am focused on a 3-tier effort that brings all democratic power to the people, that starts flowing the power upwards. Each one of these 3 pillars can work on its own and win battles that deliver freedom and peace for those communities that participate in it. But take all 3 of these pillars together, and everything changes in our direction. Absolutely everything. Fast. Our demand for freedom and peace starts showing up as our new reality. It is our destination. And our communities start to spring into life with every step we take. Democracy is our weapon. But it is not just about voting. It involves direct participatory democracy by everyone in the communities it touches. The people of a community define their community together. And after taking all of these 3 pillars into combination, it can win everywhere, fast.
Grassroots. Flowing power up instead of down. I like this. You mentioned the 3 pillars. What did you have in mind?
First of all, I can share today that this is not just wishful thinking. We're actively doing it in my community here in the Front of Yonge Township in Eastern Ontario, Canada. My neighbors and I want freedom and peace. We all agree with that. I know that to be fact because I talk with them. We want our township to thrive. We are in it with it, and we're going for it. And we're totally fed up with what we've been getting from this corrupt system. Our rage is definitely a motivating factor. We all realize how bad things have gotten. Rage is energy. Let's use our energy wisely. We're embracing our rage. For me, the first pillar of focus is my own community. From where I personally sit, that is our local town hall. We have 2,595 people living in our township. It's mostly rural. Our town hall consists of a mayor and 4 councilors, all part-time positions. Our current town hall has 5 members, all over 60 years old. Last election, they were all acclaimed. Nobody even ran against them. 4 years before that, they were pretty well acclaimed as well. Most of my neighbors don't even know their names. There were no elections. They keep getting acclaimed. And we just live our lives, paying our taxes and complaining about what town hall does and doesn't do. Things don't get better. They just get more expensive, restrictive, and complicated. So a few of us got together. Our next local election is on October 26th. We are choosing our own 5 candidates for all 5 positions from among ourselves, and we're going to campaign to win it. It is our town hall, and we are choosing our own candidates to fill its seats with our neighbors. And we only have one single platform issue. Give all the power to the people. Beyond that, every idea, every decision will be put to our neighbors. Any one of our neighbors can present ideas they want for our community. We will then facilitate discussion and debate. We expect the ideas will be improved through that process. Then they will be put to votes, which will be open for 2 weeks, and majority rules. The people will make the decisions for our community. And the sole job of our town council is only to put those decisions into force. That is their only job. The people will set the course for our community, and the politicians will work for the people, my neighbors and me. All the power will flow up from the citizens to town hall, not down from the town hall to us. We have changed the flow of power. We are picking up our weapon of democracy that has been sitting silently at our feet, and we are using it. By the way, corruption cannot even take root with this approach. There is no door for a lobbyist or influence peddler to even knock on, because the people share the power among themselves. Each of us gets one equal vote and nothing more. Our power is in our community. A lobbyist for a corporation will simply be laughed out of town. Adios to them. And this will also bring our community to life. Neighbors will talk with neighbors. Their lives are directly impacted by their conversations. Our community will come alive. We will get to know each other, quirks and all. I already feel that vibe, and it gets contagious. After all, they are busy building their community together, just like what I want to do. Power to the people. Once you feel that vibe, you want more of it. I guarantee it. And one additional point. Our chosen 5 candidates represent a younger generation. It's their future, so it's time to give them the keys to deciding on it. The boomers are done here. They can go relax on a porch and let the future be set by their next generations. Again, our simple campaign issue is to give the power to the people. People have ideas. They have already come up with several. From the simple, someone already asked for dog tags to be issued once for the lifetime of the dog, instead of having to renew them every year. Simple idea that makes sense. To the more complex, can we look into hiring our own community country doctor that works for us in our community? And they have many more ideas in between. We do not need politicians to come up with ideas. Our neighbors have plenty of good ones themselves. And by the way, there is no left-right to any of it. Our neighbors are all different, but it's the common ground that binds us together. For starters, we are all each other's neighbors, and our differences can be debated among ourselves. There's no left-right, and political parties play no role either. They have nothing to offer except to get in our way. There's only one question we had to resolve. Can we trust our neighbors to get everything right? The answer is simple and obvious. We have to. Because together is how decisions get made. On everything. It is how communities get built. But face it, if you can't trust or don't like your neighbors, maybe you are living in the wrong community and should consider moving to one that works for you. Yeah, give power to the people and have the faith that they will get everything right from there. I am convinced that they will get it right every single time. You have to have that faith to build your community.
I like that, and I can see it bringing, our communities to life. But it sounds cumbersome when you have all those ideas, discussions, debates, and votes going on. How do you propose handling that so it works?
That is the second pillar. We are building an online democracy platform, an app, a democracy app. As of today, it is well underway, and we're putting it on our website. It will be an effective starting point for any community that wants the power of democratic engagement. And we will all improve it from there. Together, all of us will. The power of technology can be applied to the democratic process. It will give every one of our citizens access to our town hall 24/7, right from their phone or laptop. Once a citizen is registered in our township, they will be able to view all items open for discussions. They can add in comments and even present their own ideas. They can debate ideas. They can suggest improvements to ideas. Every idea will be open for a couple of weeks or longer, depending on their complexity. It will allow people to post documents, videos, and links and add content to the issues. For contentious issues, they can call for a formal live debate. When discussion ends, an issue can be prepared as a formal resolution, and then they can vote on them for another 2-week period. One person, one vote, majority wins. Dog tags for the life of the dog. A local country doctor employed directly by us and working for us. And many more. Whatever anyone wants us to consider. Ruling ourselves. Together. That is freedom. And then the town council is mandated to get them done. That is why we are running a full slate for our local council. So we can make it local law. The people rule, and it is their voice, and only their voice, that guides our community forward. Imagine that, and it is open 24/7. People can perform democracy all at their convenience from their laptop or phone. With 2-week cycles, everyone has the opportunity to participate in community decisions by logging in just twice a month. Even for those that do not have internet access, the library is there to ensure everyone can participate. What has puzzled me on this is that we have had this internet technology for decades now. Why has this not been done yet? All those smart, brilliant people in Silicon Valley surely could have seen the demand for online democracy. Damn, we have all wanted it for as long as I can remember. They could see the obvious role this technology could play in democracy. They could have built this at any time. Should have. But didn't. I wonder why that is. Well, now is better than never. And we even gave it a name. OurTownHall.org. I hope everyone is cool with that. But we got to get rolling. Well, it is well under construction now and will be tapped right into our municipal government. Not from Silicon Valley, not financed by venture capitalists on Wall Street or Bay Street, but built right here in front of Young Township. I think that is really cool. And our township will be our own beta test site to make all the final tweaks it needs. This is not an easy build. It is a slow process, so be patient. We lack resources and have it being built by a couple of kids, computer students. It's coming along. It won't be pretty and we'll have bugs that will have to be solved along the way. The first version may just end up being a prototype, but it will work and it will get the job done. We're building it and everyone can join in and help us improve on it for everyone. Again, We're building it because the system is not going to build it for us, even though we all want it. The important thing is that we planted the seed. We lit the path.
That's absolutely awesome. Do you have any thoughts of sharing this with other communities outside of Town and Young?
Of course, that is the third pillar. We're happy to collaborate and share the technology with any municipality that wants to embrace democracy in their community. We built sharing into the design. It is also a pragmatic approach because we also welcome the opportunity to share the costs involved in improving, hosting, and maintaining the system. But it is not just the technology we want to share. It's the ideas, discussions, and actions that people put into the system that we want to share. We can all learn from each other and just get better at this democracy thing. Maybe other communities want dog tags for the life of the dog too, or to hire their own local doctor. Everything gets better this way, for everyone. The more voices that are heard, the better everything gets. Let democracy roar loud, proud, and free, and let it roar everywhere, coast to coast. In fact, we have already gotten some inquiries from several other municipalities across both Canada and the States, from a mid-sized city to a rural county and others in between. I've even heard from some union members. They have a corruption problem in their leadership too, and want a democracy platform for their members. Democracy is a very addictive power once you get that first taste of it. We're going to build this entire effort on democracy too, using our online democracy platform. We can all decide on every next step we take for our app, together. I'm talking specifically about our town hall itself, because community is how it works, and democracy gives us the rules. I love it, because I bet we get everything else right from here. Together is how this rolls. All of us. Everyone can bring their one vote with them just by signing up. Everyone can bring their ideas, and let's see how they all add up. Anyone can get democracy started in their own community. Do you realize that local governments decide more than half of all the laws and regulations we live by? I have heard that it is upwards of 60%. And the volume of municipal government communities is massive. Here in the province of Ontario alone, there are 444 of them. There are 5,162 across Canada and 89,004 across the USA, from small counties and townships to large cities and everything in between. We all live in a community. We all have neighbors. We all demand freedom and peace. And that freedom means to chart the course for ourselves, free from the 1% telling us what to do, and free from the corruption that is robbing us of our freedom. We govern ourselves if we choose to pick up democracy and actually use it. We are making that choice, and we are all free to make that choice. Here's my final thought, going back to the class war we find ourselves in. The 1% has corrupted their way into our federal government. The weapon of money made it easy for them to focus on that single point in both Ottawa and D.C. But at the local level, where power actually flourishes when used, there are almost 100,000 points. Remember that while their weapon is money, our weapon is our numbers. They can't focus their money on us. They don't live here. They don't control the media with their propaganda here because we have our own discussions with our neighbors. They don't have lobbyists deployed everywhere. And their lobbyists will not be welcomed in most of our neighborhoods. We outnumber them. Geez, in our community, there is not even a place for them to park their yachts and private jets. They're just not welcome here. But our neighbors are, as are our neighbors in surrounding townships, counties, districts, towns, and cities. And what is to stop us from flowing our power upwards into the state, provincial, and even federal levels once we are all united as people? The corrupt power and lust for control that the 1% have can be shut down. After all, in democracy, the people rule. Once again, their weapon is money. Our weapon is our numbers. Our weapon will defeat their weapon every single time. Like I said earlier, democracy does take work. Real democratic power flows upwards, not downwards. Power flows from the people to those who are tasked by the people to deliver on their demands. Let's get the flow right. Democracy is beyond voting. It is about working together with our neighbors to build the communities we all demand. I am convinced that all we have to do is start it and open the doors for everyone else to join in when they are ready. We all deserve to live in peace and to live free.
Yeah, wow, that is incredible. And it all does seem to fit together. It's not really that complicated at all, but I have to ask, what about leadership? Are you going to lead this through?
It is good that you asked that. That keeps coming up, and I have given it a lot of thought because I do not want to lead anything. My first thought is that it does not require leadership. The entire purpose of this effort is to give all the power to the people to lead themselves, doing so together with their neighbors in their communities. Communities are built by the people in them, building them together. There's no need for a leader where this takes us. As such, leadership is a temporary role just to light the path to bring people together. They will take it all from there. So the entire leadership role is temporary. That said, I will do my part because it is only the first step, and I believe others will show up to lead the next steps. This is not a sprint race. This is a relay race. I am ready to pass the baton. I have no desire to lead. I want to sit on a porch with my dog. I am a boomer. I am 68. I want to wave at my neighbors. I want to wave at my free neighbors and just sit back and smile with them. I want my kids and grandkids to have a future that is free and at peace. That would be awesome. So, I am doing my part now, but the goal is that others grab the baton and take it to their next step. I am reminded of the words of that David Bowie song, Heroes. We can all be heroes, if just for one day. Find your slot in time and grab your day. Maybe it is to start an effort to bring democracy to your community. Maybe it is just to start by introducing yourself to your neighbors. But ultimately, the people will rule themselves. No leader needed once we reach our destination. Remember our demand. Thriving communities living free and at peace. That is the demand, and we will take it and get it done ourselves, together. Do not look for leaders. We have learned that that does not work. Focus on your town hall. This revolution will take root at the local level. And once we have our demand for freedom and peace met, you can be a leader in what you do in your community, because communities need everything that its neighbors give it. We truly are our own leaders. Every one of us is a leader in something.
Thanks, Dan. This is my last question for you. Why are you doing this?
I don't really have an answer for that. So let me dance around that question. All my life I thought life was going to be free, full of joy, finding my own challenges to pursue, and with a dose of fun. With peace surrounding me. Maybe I'm just a dreamer. For so long I figured since it wasn't here yet, it was just around the corner and coming. But here I am, a lifetime in, and I was wrong. I guess it needs a little prod to finally come for my kids and grandkids. There is that line in that movie, Field of Dreams. Build it and they will come. I just keep hearing that repeating in my head. When the Kevin Costner part in that movie built his baseball diamond in his cornfield, he wasn't the leader. Just some nutso farmer who plowed down his cornfield. Shoeless Joe Jackson, the Ray Liotta character, was. Archie Graham, the Burt Lancaster character, was. Terrence Mann, the James Earl Jones character, was. Funny how that works. The leaders will come, but they will come for the right reasons, and it will be beautiful when they do. I guess that I am just a nutso farmer plowing down my cornfield, because some voice keeps telling me to build it and they will come. Another quote keeps echoing in my head. It applies here. What Martin Luther King said, Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. That completely applies here. Take that first step. Both those examples merge together. That's how I answer it to myself. I do wish I did it sooner, but I didn't know how until now.
That's a good. That's as good as a reason as any. So, what can we do to help? How do we bring our voices to this democracy plan of yours?
Simply reach out. Do whatever part you can. Like I said, this democracy thing is a team game. It's a community thing. Share this video. Think about democracy for your community and do something to juice it up. I'm doing my part in my own community. Everyone wants an app. Everyone wants dog tags for the life of the dog and a doctor to go to when you need one. Got to start somewhere. The next parts are on those who take it from here. I am 68. I am thinking porch, dog, and smiling neighbors. Start the conversation we all need to have. You can start by talking with your neighbors. Introduce yourself, ask them their names, and let the discussions flow. You will be surprised that the majority of them know we have to change the course we are on. It is very likely that most of them are awake. We are the majority now. Start by picking up democracy and putting it into your town hall. Register in our app. Get the foundation of your town hall a path to democratic rule. By the way, when you register, if we all register, we start putting ourselves together. Then we can work together on all the next steps. We start to organize ourselves. We get on the battlefield, and we take it all from there, together. Then start talking with your neighbors and have them sign up. Have them present their ideas. Bring your community to life in the freedom and peace of self-governance. We will all collaborate with each other. We all cheer each other on, and we will share ideas. The funny thing is that we need builders more than leaders. We need organizers, facilitators, educators, artists, dreamers even. If you are really charged up, we need help across the board to elevate this entire effort. Reach out to us and bring what you can to the table. Everyone has a voice, and together we make it all better. And we take charge of our own lives together. Democracy is a team game. We just need each other. I'm sure things will evolve with more needs as we go. But we will find them because we got all of us. All the talent and skills are within us as a community. Together is how we engage them. You can share this video to engage more people. Get more of your neighbors to register so you can start the democratic process and discussions in your community. Bring your community to life. Wake it up. We will stand with you, support you, and cheer you on. Together is how we pick up democracy and use it. And we will learn from each other. We will share our successes and amplify them. We will share our mistakes and avoid repeating them. You can also add in your ideas for our platform to make it all better. We might not know what every next step is yet, but together is how we find the next step. Together is how we achieve the freedom and peace we all demand. Every next step we will all be taking together. We will walk this journey side by side together, and we will light the path so that all our neighbors can find it. Most of all, pick up that democracy that is just sitting there at your feet. It's been waiting on all of us. That is what this is all about. This is how we do revolution. Thank you to everyone for hearing me out. Thank you so much for helping put this discussion together. Democracy is our weapon, and democracy is a team game. We have now put this into the proper hands of power, the people. That is why we built this app. That is why we created our town hall. That is why we created this video. Now it's up to the people to take it from here. The baton is now passed to you. Power to the people.